For the past 10 years, the West has been trying to tap into Chinese culture to make the business process smoother. Now, cross-cultural business expert Daniel Chidi says it's China's turn to tap into the West.
Yes, it is China's turn because, interestingly here, the Chinese, they like to hear about cross-culture and then they say, okay, it's the rest of the world who has to learn how to deal with China. And I say, well, yes, this was our task. We've achieved this. This is going on for 10 years. And I was telling you in China that to have some consideration, to be patient with the foreigners, that they don't know everything immediately, that they don't know how to do business, exchange the business cards, do the talking, do the negotiations. So far, I was satisfied here in China to explain about the rest of the world. And I think now it's time, as the Chinese market matures, to tell them a little bit more and to break the whole story up and to tell them if you have an incentive from Chicago, if you have a conference group from Japan or a medical business group from Indonesia, this is quite different business and you have to handle it differently. And no, cross-culture is not about one side being always right and the other side being always wrong. Cross-culture is about finding each other and find a way how to do business together. And then, therefore, if you have a delegation from Indonesia, how do you manage not imposing your way and yet considering your options, your abilities, your service qualities that you have, and on the other hand, understand the Indonesian group, their needs, maybe about alcohol, maybe religious issues, maybe the group bonding, etc. So it's a complex issue. And so I tell the Chinese something very simple. I say Italian groups are not Indonesian groups and Japanese do not behave like Brits and the Finns are quite different from the Germans. And I think that learning process must go on right now.
I suppose it's all about doing your research, really, isn't it? Because when foreigners come into China as groups, for events, for incentives, they want a Chinese cultural experience. But at the same time, they also want their personal cultures to be respected. So it's a case of doing your research and making sure that you're in tune with your market, isn't it?
It's a case of communication. We had a reception last night, and the reception lasted from 5:30 to 7:30, and it was a reception for all the visitors from all over the world. And at 7:30, the lights went off, and that is understandable in China. This is what has been booked. This is what has been paid for. In European culture, we would not understand this. So the truth for a successful event or a conference is to talk to each other. And this is, how do we do it? What are your needs? What are your customs? And also in terms of, for example, ending a conference, how do you do it? Do you allow the people to hang out a little bit? Do you make an official announcement? Or do you really just turn off the light because this is the agreed momentum? So cross-culture is about communication, and communication, of course, is about the ability to speak the global language, English. And there we are back to quite a different topic, that everybody in the MICE industry must continue to improve his English, because 85% of all nations around the world use English as a foreign language. Me, coming from Switzerland, speaking to a Chinese, we both speak in a foreign language. So the opportunity, the chances that we have a misunderstanding just because of lack of knowledge in English is already there.
Fascinating stuff, Daniel. Again, I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Thank you very much for talking to me, and good luck with your session tomorrow.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thanks very much, Jen.